sunrise. Hang on a second. Hopefully the camera does justice to the beautiful view. Oh, that is just stunning, that is. That is lovely. We are currently in the Rusk Channel, heading kinda south. We've got a headwind. Oh, of course we do. We left Polduff at 3:30 this morning. No, sorry, we woke up at 3:30 this morning. We raised the anchor for 10 to 4 and we have been underway since. John has been earning his breakfast, which is yet to be served. He has been an absolute trooper, bringing up the anchor by hand, and also we are on our 4th tack at the moment, or is it our 5th? I've lost count at this stage.
Yeah, beating against the wind, right?
Yep. We are south of the windmills of Cahor Point, the markers for Rusk Channel, where we currently are. We're pinched as close to the wind as we possibly can in order to make as close to a southerly progress as we can. Beaten into the wind is not fun. We're not the only ones making passage south. But at least we have our sails up. Hee hee. We had rain last night, so we both have soggy bottoms. We want to be going at 180. It is 6:22 and we are making good progress down the Wexford coast. We're currently doing 4 knots speed over ground and 14.9 knots of wind, and our heading is 240 degrees compass. We're in 16.6 meters depth, and John is on the helm at the moment because I have just come off the helm in order to warm up out of the wind. There is a cold wind blowing. Could seriously do with some coffee, and I don't even drink coffee. But we're planning on anchoring either in Rosslare or Wexford, depending on how our progress is going. There's an anchorage just north of Wexford that we're planning on using in 4 to 5 meters of sand, so looking forward to that. And then we'll get a couple of hours rest before making our passage south and heading on for the Isles of Scilly. I can totally recommend the anchorage at Polduff. It was very comfortable last night with the southwesterly winds, and myself and John slept like the dead, quite literally. Went to bed at like 10 o'clock and I slept straight through until 3 this morning. It wasn't too rocky or rolly, so that was great, because normally when we're at anchorage you're hearing things like pots clicking inside the presses, or the supports for our table knocking in and out, and you don't sleep as well. But I was just knackered yesterday, so I slept like the dead. John woke up in the middle of the night with heartburn after our late dinner, and was looking for his rennies, and he was like, "Jan, where's the rennies?" And I'm like, completely dead, non-responsive. So he was not impressed. He had to go and find them himself. It's a murky morning, but at least it is dry. It had rained overnight, so myself and John have slightly damp bottoms. The sun is looking very spooky as it peeks out from behind the curtain of cloud. I was so delighted to be able to catch the sunrise this morning as it rose over the sea before I went into a cloud bank. 2.17 to our anchorage just north of Wexford that we were planning on trying out. We haven't anchored there yet, ever before, so it is 4 to 5 meters in sand, and this is the sort of weather we've been travelling in, sort of grey murk. 3.2 knots speed over ground, 14 knots of wind, and 9.5 meters of depth. It is 7:53 and we have just deployed the anchor at a new anchorage for us just north of Wexford Harbour. We have offshore winds, which is nicely broken up by the trees, so it is nicely sheltered here. This will be our push-off point for the Isles of Scilly. John is just lashing the helm to make sure that our tiller is not slapping from side to side. The gas has just gone on. Time for breakfast! Well, proper breakfast, because official breakfast was bar of chocolate earlier this morning.
This is the wind for today, and green here is low winds, 10 to 15 knots, and we're planning to leave at 12 o'clock from where you can see that X or cross.
There's a white dot.
That dot, yeah. And it's going to winds, like I said, 10 to 15 knots from the south, maybe 200 degrees, and if I just scroll through here, add an hour, you can see that kind of southwesterly is going to be maintained until about 7 o'clock, and then you get a big area here of no wind, so
The motor.
it'll have the motor, and it looks like if I can do this here, so it looks like basically we're going to have from 12 o'clock until 7 o'clock there's some wind, and then it's going to really die down.
Okay.
There's a high pressure over the area.
Okay.
Yeah, just below the line.
Very good.
See?
Yep.
You can actually see it turn the colour, can you?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
On lobster pot watch as we motor away from our anchorage, which was just over here in Wexford, just north of Wexford Harbour. A very calm, settled anchorage.
We're going the right way because the wind is dead ahead.
Look at us.
If you're unsure of which way you're supposed to be heading, find a headwind, and you know that's exactly the path that you want to go in.
Passing the Wexford safe watermark. As you can see from our radar overlay, or the little black triangle, we are at North Sheer. We're doing 4 knots average with a headwind. We have 15.2 knots of headwind. We're in currently 7 meters of depth.
So when we get south of Carnthrow Point, the wind is going to shift about 210 degrees, and we want to head 180 degrees down to the Scillies. So that means that really to get a better angle of the wind, we should probably set a course about 170 degrees, and that'll give us a better angle to the wind, and it'll help us get build up some speed, because I think we lose the wind around 7 hours
out about having a headwind, saying, could we get a more perfect headwind? And then we ended up with a gust of 80 knots of a headwind. So I was like, you just had to jinx us, didn't you? Thankfully it has dropped back to 16. But you know, you just had to say it, didn't you? Making good progress down through the sheer channel. Tusker Rock is just visible through the greyness. Ferries serving England and France. The perch marks Carrick Rock and the ledge that extends out from shore. In front of us is the port marker for Splaw Rock to keep shipping safe. Splaw Rock is actually closer to shore. We have been running the gauntlet of lobster pot markers in this area. It is very dangerous as there are so many tiny markers, some not much bigger than tennis balls. Some have long lines and some are being pulled under by the tidal current. So both John and I are on high alert not to snag a line on our propeller, which could be disastrous for us. It is 13:30 and we're coming up on the Calmines marker for shipping. It's 13:55 and we are abeam Tusker Rock. Carnsore Point, with its wind turbines, is the southeast corner of Ireland. We have 6.5 knots speed over ground, 15.2 knots of a headwind and a depth of 20.6 metres. You can see the rough water here is the Baileys, notorious overfalls between Ireland and Tusker Rock. Abeam, another of our favourite anchorages down here near Carn. It's called St. Margaret's Bay, and you can just make out the pier wall at Carn Village. Ahead of us we have Fundale Rock marker, and then further on is McCulloch Rock, just off Carnsore Point. Time to say goodbye to Ireland. Next stop, Isles of Scilly. We're on a heading of 180 for New Grimsby Sound. Yes, we're still motoring because we still have a pretty much headwind. Current speed over ground is 5 knots. We're in 40.8 metres with a 14.5 knot almost headwind. It is 5 to 3 in the afternoon and we have our foresail and mainsail out. We have set in our heading for New Grimsby Sound at 179 degrees magnetic. We're not clear of lob spots yet, we just passed one at 50 metres, so we're still keeping an eye out. Next stop, Isles of Scilly! We have 5.7 knots of speed over ground, 12.5 knots of apparent wind. We're at 52.5 metres depth. I'm going off watch now for an hour. So, as a safety precaution, we always harness on when alone on deck. So, that's John safe, complete with his brand new registered Irish PLB. Woohoo! Yay!
Well, you can't afford to lose me. We'll get you in next year.
Don't worry, folks. I got one too. Okay, this is going to be our last view of Carnsore Point.
Puffin.
Lovely! Ah, lovely! Just made John's day. His favourite little birdie. He's all set for his watch now. Dressed up warm and snuggy. Harnessed on. PLB'd. He's just had a view